So welcome to the first edition of Make Your Move to the Middle of Everywhere. First of all, we'd like to thank our tech team from our high school that we're very proud of. Last night during our conversation, I heard a couple of things that was consistent throughout the crowd, and I think that Karen and Richard and Terry mentioned that they ended up here for a reason. So, Richard, would you like to elaborate on kind of what brought you here? And
Sure, yeah. So what brought us here was Terry and I had both retired about 4 years ago. And we lived in Texas, in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Very congested, very busy place. And we were just looking for a more relaxed feel of life. Slower pace, I guess you could say.
sure.
And we had inherited some farmland and everything, and we had a house that was part of the estate that hadn't sold, so we bought that house. Said, hey, let's move to Elkhart, where Terry actually grew up. And we actually bought the house that she grew up in.
That's cool. That's cool. So it's kind of a roots thing for you, Terry. Maybe you come back to your.
Yes, it's been different. It's very comfortable though, and a warm embrace really. Because I grew up here, I'm very familiar with the town and the community and a lot of the people still here. So it's very fun for me. Sorry about that. So.
You had mentioned something about, I think when someone in town, there might be a death in the family, some of the town just seems to circle the wagons, so to speak, and
Yes, there's a very small community. It's like if something bad happened, a death in the family, or somebody's very sick, the community's going to know. They know instantly because it's so small. And the next thing you know, food is showing up at their house. There's a benefit, a noodle dinner. That's a big one to benefit families that are suffering. Our sheriff lost her house to a fire, and the community just circled around to make sure that they were taken care of. They had a place to live. They had clothing and food and taken care of, and that's just what a good small community can do for you.
so. Well, do you play golf? You guys play golf, right?
We both play golf.
So what do you think of our golf course?
I love the golf course. It's a little 9-hole golf course. Very well taken care of. And I know they have a lot of tournaments here. The high schools use it. People from all over the region and all comes to play here. So, yeah.
Well, I know that Terry had mentioned last night about the cost versus your Dallas experience.
Oh yeah. The cost is $300 a year.
Unlimited,
Unlimited play all day.
as long as the temperature's above 40.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
And the wind's below 40 miles an hour.
Yeah,
We're at 40 rule.
there you go.
that's
And I had talked to Kevin Shook this morning about the superintendent of the golf course, and he said that, so Karen, you moved, and you told us a fairly long tale last night. You said today, the short version, medium version, but I think you said something very unique in the fact that you had a list of wants and needs, and I think when you were done, magically your wants were filled, and then over time, your needs were filled, and then over time your wants were filled
Right.
also. So you kind of have a work from home, so internet's real important to you.
Yeah,
So if you want to kind of go over that.
I did have wants and needs. When I decided I was leaving California, I sat down and made a list of wants and needs. And then I went out on a journey to figure out where I was going to move. Elkhart kept coming back into the picture It was spring break of 2018. My son and I ventured to Elkhart. And again, I had my wants and my needs. We looked at houses, had done looking at houses, and then we went through town. And I was amazed that my needs list was filled really quick. One of the needs was because I'm a remote employee, I needed high-speed, reliable internet. And I was amazed when we were driving down Main Street. You look to the right and there's an Epic Touch. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me. How can a small town have their own internet company? So we stopped. We went in to talk to them. They gave me the brochure, and as I was looking at it, was amazed that this whole town has fiber going into each house. That's unheard of. When I came from California, I was running on DSL. I know this is technical, but I was on DSL. Elkhart offered fiber. That was unheard of. So, okay, need is off my list. I could actually move here, and it would be probably better for me as a remote employee because of the stability of the internet. The town has its own grocery store, very nice grocery store, clean, kept up, has everything that you need. You don't need to go out of Elkhart to buy your basic meat or any of your cleaning.
I've always heard that if I can't get in Elkhart, I don't need.
Yeah, that is, and you know what is really weird is when I moved here, I noticed that I had not left Elkhart, this small town that has no stoplights, by the way.
That was on
one
your-
of the needs.
That was on.
That was on my need list. This town does not have stoplights. And we don't have stoplights. Anyway, I was here for 8 months. I did not even have to leave this town. And it was weird. The day I did leave, my son and I, we were going to Colorado, and we got to the first stoplight, and it's the first stoplight that I had ever been to in 8 months. And that just amazes me. This town, you don't need to leave. You got everything here. It's a rich, fulfilling lifestyle. As Terry said, people come together. This town helps each other when there's needs that need to be met. It's been fulfilling for me, and I truly enjoy it. I've been here 5 years, and I have a few more years before I retire, but I'm staying. It's worth it. I enjoy it. I enjoy these people.
Well, and I think that's another thing that we can boast about is the quality of people. You know, everybody helps everybody and does what needs done and gets active in the community and try to help us prosper even more. So
Yeah, that's the other thing. There are so many things that you can volunteer for here. Hands for Hope. Got the Elkhart Senior Center. There's churches that would take in anyone to volunteer to help the children out for Easter egg hunt, Bible study, Bible school, vacation Bible
food
school.
bank is, I know our church sponsors meals for the
Elkhart Senior Center, yeah.
We've got the food bank.
Yeah, there's something for everyone here. I'm glad I made the move. I wish I would have done it sooner.
Well, I heard somebody say a couple of months ago when we were first talking about doing this, they said, well, I'm not from Elkhart, but I got here as soon as I could. And I thought that was kind of cute, so,
I wish I would have gotten here sooner
yeah.
because the quality of my life would have been better for it. I mean, this is a relaxing community.
Right.
There is no hustle bustle, there's no craziness here. It's just calm. I feel the calm.
Right. And Pastor Denny, you have a similar story, I think, because you took a job pastoring the Church of God here in town, and you came from Tampa, Florida, if I remember right. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I was 25 years in Tampa, Florida. And
And we made the move. I read a book that said when you're 60, you got to change your whole world around and give yourself more vitality. And I've come to a whole new culture, different language, different culinary. It's just a whole different world, and it's been very exciting. And I want to say something about when you say it's more relaxing, you can make it sound boring. But actually, what I feel like is there's less distractions. The things that I'm passionate about, I have time for. Things that I care about, I can focus on. I can really pour my life into some things that otherwise there are 1,000 different distractions and 1,000 other things to do. And for point, when I lived in Tampa, I was 5 miles from Walmart. And it took me longer to get to Walmart than it does here when Walmart's 50 miles away.
Exactly.
And I never saw an antelope in Tampa when I was driving to Walmart.
Right.
Just people yelling at me because I wasn't going fast enough. So I have really found a great place to live here in Elkhart.
Fulfilling. Would that be a good
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
Well, and I think the same could be said about an international airport that's 2 hours away. And I know Richard had mentioned that if you can get there faster, get through security faster, and get to where you need to go, versus say if you lived on the wrong side of Kansas City and had to drive, we'll say 20 miles to the airport, which turned into 2 hours because of the traffic. So we have access to the world relatively easy. I think that would be a fair statement to make. And I just think that once people get here, and of course I'm kind of a lifer, but there's just a true love for the community and the success of the community, and we seem to be very welcoming to people. So,
And the airport is an international
yeah,
airport.
that's right. Yes. the airport.
So
Yeah.
it's not just a municipal, it's an international airport.
Right.
That's
And I know with you guys, that's been kind of handy because you have kids on either side of like Dallas and Atlanta, so you guys make trips periodically, and that I'm assuming makes it fairly convenient to do that. Yes.
Much shorter trip when you get on an airplane in Amarillo and quickly get to Dallas and then off to where we need to go. Either stay in Dallas or go on to Atlanta. So it makes it much.
And you had mentioned one day we have a Higher Grounds coffee shop, and you were in the mood for sticky buns, and you were talking to the owner about the sticky bun. Well, I hadn't thought about making them today, but then I think you said, well, I'll just make them today since you want them back. So that right there is a
Because it's Sticky Bun Friday, usually at Higher Grounds. And so I was asking her that morning, I said, that evening, I think she goes, well, no, I wasn't gonna make them, but if you want them, I'll make them. So there she did, and she said, how many you want? I can make you a pan. I was going, okay. And they are awesome. And she's a awesome business owner and just person.
And that's the thing about a small town community too. You know the owners of the businesses, you know the people who work there. If you have a conversation with them, things can happen. We talk about the grocery store. I got certain kind of cereals I like to eat, and I couldn't find them in the store. So I just talked to the people at the store, and they made sure that some came in.
Right.
yeah.
So whatever you want, you just got to communicate to somebody, and we can get that for you. I like pistachio bread. Pistachio bread Tuesday. It's a very accommodating community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed.
And you wouldn't find that where in the bigger cities where we came from. They don't know you from Adam. They don't care,
Right.
usually, But here, they, sure, we'll do that for you. So it's just like a warm hug, I think.
It's a good description.
I've had college kids come back from college and say to me, I forgot you can drive and wave at the same time. And it's kind of social policy in Elkhart to wave at people when you drive by.
Yeah.
And it makes it just kind of a friendly environment as well, what's accommodating.
Well, I think I remember you telling the story. We have a Mitchell, the Doric Theater, which is all brand new, high tech, getting ready to have a rooftop lounge, and you mentioned talking to Mr. Akers at the movie before it started, and you were yelling up, and you guys were kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, I had I have a member of my church, we won't use Dick Akers' name, but whose love language is teasing.
Yes.
And he'll make fun of you or he'll say something, and he said something to me, I said something back to him in the theater before the movie started, which brought somebody else in the conversation. And within 5 minutes, I was in a conversation with everybody in the theater.
That's funny.
And I walked away and I said, this doesn't happen everywhere,
Right.
where you have a conversation with everyone in the theater. We have a conversation with anybody in the theater, but with everyone, that's just the kind of town it is.
Well, and I think it's impressive that Brian Mitchell had. This is, I believe, this theater's like 100 years old, maybe, but he's a third generation farmer, and then got in the movie business, and then he, I hate to guess what he spent, but we've got Dolby surround sound, and it's also have I believe, a stage in front for local plays or whatever, and it's just unheard of for a town our size to have that
Well, and
quality.
I can tell you this, I can take my wife to the movies, get a bucket of popcorn and 2 drinks for what it cost me for 1 movie ticket in Tampa.
Exactly. So, it's not like we're just a one-horse town. We have a lot to offer. So, in my opinion, well, is there anything else that I have forgotten to
The
ask?
county fair.
Oh yeah, the county fair. That's a big deal. You're a cornhole champion sort of person.
Well, I grew up here again. Y'all know, but I grew up in a 4-H family, and so 4-H, that's your deal. That's where you show your stuff off. It's the county fair, and so it was always something to look forward to. And so then, even after then I graduated, almost every year, I would come back for the county fair, and then when I had children, brought them back for the county fair because you could chase the pigs. They had them chase the pig and do a little baby tractor pull, and the rodeo was just always a good time. And
It is a good time.
it is. And now they have it. Last year, I think, maybe it was the first year, they had a cornhole tournament. So we participated in that, which is something to do and come out and do. And then my daughter just had a little baby boy, and so she's already put it on her calendar when the fair is. She said, Mom's when's the fair? Because I'm bringing him out. I'm getting him ready to mutton bust. So anyway, she's got it on her calendar. So I just love the fair. And it's a fun thing to do. You got something for everybody.
Yeah, I look forward to that fair every year. I get excited about it, especially the horse show. And it's like I have to take off work. It's 9 to 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm calling in sick to work. Gotta go to the horse show.
Well, and I think our unique location in the world, because I think we talked about the Bike Across Kansas, they start that.
Yeah.
Typically, I think every other year it starts in Elkhart, and that's getting ready to get started. And, we have a fairly new civic center that hosts weddings or meetings or
Quinceañeras.
whatever the case may be. It's a very nice facility, right next to Point Rock Golf Course. So,
Well, and the county fair is not only someplace to go to watch, but it's an opportunity to participate.
Right.
And whether you're showing animals or bringing in crops, I've shown rhubarb out of my garden. I like to take pictures and put pictures in the fair every year. My wife has flowers that she puts in every year. It's a chance to participate in the community as well and have some fun with
that. So it's a good show, but it's also an opportunity to be part of the show.
Well, and I think partly that's what draws a community together, because you may meet somebody in the community at the fair that you didn't know, but then you form a relationship with somebody. And that kind of enables us to all be together and help each other. I guess I'm running out of questions. Does anybody, have I missed anything from our little thing last night?
Well, I think one of the things too, remember, this is a huge farm community, and they grow a ton of wheat and rye and corn. Yes, one of the, our families have farmland here and all, and one of the favorite things is when we first moved here, one of my first jobs was to get on the combine.
And that was all new, right?
That was all brand new, never been on a combine before. They said, get up there and get behind us, and we're gonna go harvest.
Yeah.
And that's what I did the first fall that I was here. I spent all my time on the combine.
And you only lost the header once, right?
Yeah, I ripped the header off.
But it was okay. It was
Yeah, it got
okay.
fixed.
Yeah.
It got
It was
fixed.
okay.
Yeah, but it is. It's a great farm community, and they produce a lot.
Well, and
And
I
they're
think,
very willing for you to participate.
yeah,
I've got folks who, and I have visitors come in and let them ride in the combine with them. My first year here, they had my wife Craig check cows. That was a first for her to put a glove on her shoulder and reach in and Craig check a cow. So there's opportunities to be involved in a world or a culture that you may not be familiar with.
Right.
I'm glad for you to participate in it.
well, if that's, does anybody have anything else, or?
I think we should talk about the Elkhorn School District, because I think the teachers here go above and beyond for the kids, you know. They really
Absolutely.
they take care of the children here. It amazes me, like I've only been here 5 years, but my son has gone through the high school 4 years, so he graduates this year. I was always concerned he was gonna get bullied, and I don't think the teachers would allow that, you know, not here. I've been very impressed with the school district. I think it's to me it's A+.
Well, I think that's a testament of today. We've had 2 gentlemen that have volunteered for Saturday and their teacher. She says that I owe her big, so we'll talk about that later. But that's a testament to our community, putting this interview together and having our kids involved, because they are proud of their community as well. So I think that's the case throughout the entire system.
I just wanted to mention that.
We
I
have
think we've got a good
fabulous,
school district.
fabulous facilities, and baseball, track, football, it's just something to be proud of.
Well, and then you have your homecoming parades right down Main Street. You'll have a pep rally right in the middle of Main Street for homecoming. That's great. And then the stands will be filled at the basketball games for people coming, both sides, and it's so cool. And then elementary school, who gets to go and dress up in their Halloween costumes and do a parade down Main Street and around. We did that as I was growing up here. They still do that, and that is just I think it's so fun. It's so much fun for the kids, and keep that tradition alive.
I know.
Things like that. You remember that. They will remember this. So, and how much fun it was. Things like that.
You dressing that was Cruella. Cruella made it came to town. You were the hit. You were the hit of the show. So.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's all fun. Just have fun.
And nobody just, made me feel bad about it, and thought it was stupid, so.
My 2 older sons played basketball and went to a high school that had 5,000 students in it. And never did they have the stands full like they do here at Elkhorn.
Right.
The opportunity to volunteer in the schools is incredible. We have an incredible baseball team. and an incredible announcer. But I got an opportunity to be involved.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
whatnot, and it makes my life fun.
Yes.
It gets me involved with the high school family, that kind of thing. So those things only happen in a town like Elko. I'd like to say too, just for the record, maybe you can tell, I got Parkinson's disease, which means I require a regular appointment with a neurologist. But I don't have to drive anywhere. I meet my neurologist right here through VideoMed.
Right.
And I'm very, very pleased with my neurologist, what kind of care I've gotten, what kind of appointments we have. In fact, one time the VideoMed didn't work, so we tried Zoom and the Zoom didn't work. And so then we did FaceTime.
Right.
So there was a work at making it happen and making sure I got good health care as well. Even though I needed a specialist, it was available to me in Elkhart.
Right.
And I think that's something to be proud of in our community.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, that was one, I talked about my needs and wants list. I was, again, pleasantly surprised that we had a hospital here in town, a clinic, a health clinic. It just, like I said, you really don't need to leave Elkhart. You really don't need to leave Elkhart. You can stay here until you have to get on a plane in Amarillo to go somewhere.
Right.
You really have everything you need here. You really do.
Well, I think that we've finished up well with our first edition of Make Your Move to the Middle of Everywhere.
Yay.
So, and once again, thanks to our students and their leader. So we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And